Ever since humanity discovered that there are other places outside of Earth, we've thought about leaving it. On this episode of What If, we're going to do just that. But where would we go? Is building a ring world in space a possibility? Maybe terraforming Venus is our best option for a sustainable life. If we were to leave Earth and create something like a ring world, where would we find the materials to do so? And if we lived on Venus, how different would it be from Earth? More about that later in this episode, but before we blast off, why would we ever want to leave? Well, in this first scenario, Earth would look a little bit different. That's because we're now one of Jupiter's 75 moons. How would Jupiter's super strong gravity affect our lives? What would our sky look like? And how dangerous would this new version of Earth be? All those answers in just a little bit, but right now, let's talk about just how big Jupiter is. This gas giant is so massive that it could hold more than 1,300 Earths. To put it in perspective, if Earth was the size of a grape, Jupiter would be the size of a basketball. Currently, we have just a single moon. Jupiter has 75, so yeah, Jupiter's a pretty big deal. And while orbiting it might be a dream come true for all you photographers, getting the perfect picture for Instagram is the least of your worries because every day is a struggle for survival. Being a moon of Jupiter would be pretty terrible. But why? Well, for one thing, the temperature is ridiculously cold. But don't just take our word for it. We spoke to astrophysicist Jack Lissauer to tell us more about this scenario.
If you took Earth and put it around Jupiter now, then, of course, the sun would be much fainter. There'd be a lot less energy input in our biosphere from solar radiation, and the atmosphere would quickly cool off.
Depending on where you are on the planet, the temperature ranges between minus 145 degrees to minus 220 degrees. This is because Jupiter is an average of 778 million kilometers from the Sun. That means Jupiter only gets 3.7% of the light that Earth gets, so it's going to be a lot darker in your neighborhood. And the days could be long ones. Compared to the length of a 24-hour day, Jupiter's closest moon, Io, nearly doubles Earth with days that are about 40 hours long. Wonder how long the days would be on our ring world? Or on Venus? Wait, let's not leave so fast. We should try to make life circling Jupiter work. With temperatures like this, we'd need to find a completely new way to live on Earth. What would be the best option for humans to survive these treacherous conditions? Would it be living in heated domes? Wearing super insulated spacesuits? Or living underground? Think about that, and we'll have the answer for you soon. For now, let's talk about some other things you'll have to avoid on our new moon planet. The gravitational pull from Jupiter's other moons, as well as the planet itself, would create extreme tidal forces.
So tidal forces, of course, are greater if the object that creates the tides is more massive. So moon creating tides on the Earth is, moon is not that massive, so the tides on Earth are very small, but Jupiter creating tides on its moon Io is much, much more massive.
These would generate lots of heat on Earth, but only internally. For example, Jupiter's external temperature averages minus 145 degrees, but its core is as hot as parts of the Sun. So inside our planet would be pretty toasty. But that'll be about the only good thing that comes from moving Earth to Jupiter. In addition to heating the Earth's core, Tidal waves would also bring daily earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions to Earth.
So for sufficiently strong tidal forces, you can have arbitrarily strong earthquakes, arbitrarily high tsunamis, like kilometer sizes even, which is almost incomprehensible.
As if trying to avoid all these hazards isn't enough, there's also the possibility of getting cooked to death. Jupiter's magnetic field is 10 times stronger than Earth's, meaning that it emits 1,000,000 times more radiation than what we're used to.
If you're as close to Jupiter as Io is to Jupiter, the radiation you would experience from ions trapped in Jupiter's magnetic field is an order of magnitude more per day than the lethal radiation for a human being.
So how can you survive this new treacherous planet? Well, having a superheated dome and special suits would certainly help. But your best bet for surviving would be to live underground. This is actually not so different from what's happening on Earth today. In certain corners of the world, the rich elite are building underground bunkers to survive a potential apocalypse. Their subterranean safe havens are designed to withstand impending disasters like bombs, pandemics, and maybe even surviving being a moon of Jupiter. But if you were to live underground, how long do you think you could last? How would your mind handle this new living environment? And what would you do for food? You could dig down towards the Earth's core and harness its geothermal energy. That means taking heat from the Earth, extracted from hot water and rock, creating steam. The steam would then rotate a turbine, activating a generator, and from this, you can get power. Luckily for you, producing geothermal energy may be even easier, considering you're now near Jupiter, so the Earth's core is hotter than ever before. Okay, now that you have power, how do you get drinkable water? Since all the water on the planet's surface would be full of radiation, you're going to have to dig below until you find a source of water. Just remember to be careful, as digging around in your underground bunker could easily cause flooding or cave-ins. And remember, you'll need to purify your water before you drink it. Man, you've sure been digging for a while, so you must be hungry. Hopefully you stocked up on lots of canned food before bunkering down here, but even that would only last so long. If an entire society were living underground, we'd need to figure out a way to feed all these people. If you wanted to actually have a chance at surviving, you'd have to build hydroponic gardens to grow fruits and vegetables. This would allow you to garden without soil. People use them today to grow herbs, fruits, and veggies all year round. They don't take up as much space since you can stack them vertically. Hydroponic gardens also grow faster and more consistently than traditional gardens. And sure, let's bring in some farm animals as well, so you don't have to go vegan. After all, this bunker will be quite massive, and they can provide fertilizer for the garden. So this all sounds pretty good. You've got